Tahoe may be made up of communities, but we are one lake and one regional economy. So what affects some of us affects all of us. The Tahoe Prosperity Center wants to catalyze change and take action for the benefit of our regional community and economy.
Swear to God, and John Prine, heart was made to sing, but the machines just won't be a game. And either way, at the end of the day, I'd be like.
We're working hard with all kinds of focuses. We focus with the Alert Tahoe cameras, which have safeguarded our residents from fires for several years. And we focus on the economic needs of our basin with events like this, the collection and analysis of economic data as in our indicators report, or the work on convening groups to work on solutions for housing, broadband availability and quality, as well as workforce training and resources for both employers and employees. We can't do this alone, and jointly collaborating with our community of stakeholders is what we do best. But I need to ask you all for a favor. In these unprecedented times, we need your help. We need you to get involved with either your time or your checkbook. Please go to our site, www.tahoeprosperitycenter.org, and either click the Invest button and give anything you can as a tax-deductible contribution, or give us your time as a volunteer by reaching out to Heidi Hill Drum or any of our staff members. As a regional community and economic development organization here in the basin, we look forward to leading a collaborative, community-wide effort on the future economic resiliency of the basin.
We're working hard to do what we can to improve our broadband and cellular connectivity in the basin. You heard about our Alert Tahoe fire cameras from Congressman McClintock and Bob. They have stopped more than 60 fires with the help of our local firefighting crews on the ground. And they're working. And thankfully, as we head into this windy, dry season, we are very appreciative of all of the work of our firefighters and those cameras helping to give them information. We love our partnerships with Advance and Lake Tahoe Community College and others on the TahoeCareerConnect.org website. If you haven't gone there, please check it out. It gives you all the information you need to improve your job, find a new job, find a salary range of jobs that you might be interested in, and all the other good information. Housing is critically important in our region. It is not just good for businesses who need workers living here, but it's really important for our local workers now, especially with this uncertainty in the pandemic, to have stable, safe housing. So the Tahoe Prosperity Center will continue to work hard for you, the local residents of our community, the business owners, the students, the seniors, everybody who lives, works, and plays in Lake Tahoe. We want to make this a community where everyone can live, work, and thrive. We want it to be inclusive for all. And to that, I am thrilled to introduce our keynote speaker, Bruce Katz. He's the founding director of NOAC Metro Finance Lab at Drexel University in Philadelphia.
So we think power is shifting in the world. Power is shifting down. Obviously, we have a very critical election next week. Will affect resources and rules. But frankly, the harnessing of those resources and rules is a local phenomenon. You can't shape economies from Washington, D.C. Because going back to the steel collapse, they began to invest in next generation ideas. And they act like an entrepreneur. They take risk. Pittsburgh invested in robotics and invested in people like Red Whitaker before anyone even knew what robotics were. They basically bet on the future. But economies that focus on talent, not just 4-year degrees, not just the brainiacs, but 2-year degrees, credentialing in technology skills do very well. The Indianapolis story is a remarkable story because you have major corporations there, major philanthropies, but when they sit together, they act as an ecosystem rather than an ecosystem. They sit together, they collaborate to compete, they collaborate to problem solve. What we do know is every part of the country needs their own authentic recovery playbook. Stabilize, restart small business, build on your advantages, leverage those federal investments. And frankly, this may be a time for everyone to rethink intermediaries, rethink public authorities, rethink nonprofit institutions. We may not have the right mix of institutions and intermediaries. And like Copenhagen, this may be a time where we actually invent new. That may be around public assets, like Copenhagen did. It may be around the procurement coming out of our universities or our hospitals or our corporations. Bottom line, these periods tend to lead to lots of institutional change as well as financial reforms. And those places who are connected, linked, networked will be more likely to succeed. We need American chaos, innovation, right, ingenuity, but we need some formal way for the public, private, and civic sector can steward the economy with resources.
From my point of view, one of the ways that we can and need to move to a more engaged, community engaged opportunity is to be thinking about destination management, destination development, and then destination management, and working between agencies and with communities to act on plans that are developed collectively. That we have a lot of that collective planning in place, but we, I think, could improve on sort of the enactment of those plans pretty effectively.
There's certainly a demand post-COVID for the amazing destination. It's world-class, Tahoe is. It provides hospitality and entertainment and recreation, certainly in the summertime, but we need to look at other options and opportunities beyond that.
My main, advice will be pull together your skill system, work with business, and help have a steady supply of talented workers to complement the kind of remote work that you're going to get.
The other thing that we've been talking about that I think we often overlook is our supervisor and manager level. We promote folks and assume, they'll have the tools to be successful to start managing people when they maybe don't have the experience to do so. So our goal moving forward into 2021 is to provide additional training to that level of team member so that they have some of those soft skills, communication and talking with people and reading people and adapting your management style, which I think makes a big difference for all of us just as individuals and humans. And a lot of that you can carry into your private life as well, and trying to further develop our team members to just be better people. And ideally, that takes them to the next level and prepares them, and we have a better succession plan in place. And whether they can advance within Hard Rock or take their career to bigger and better things in another company or another location or another industry, I think that's all our jobs is to do that and develop the next generation of leaders in society.
One of the lessons of sustainable recreation and its extrapolation might be to look at how does the Tahoe Basin and its many diverse communities work to improve the quality of life indicators for people who are there, which will make it attractive to the people who are coming there or will come there as a result of the explosion of remote work potentially.
Of what matters for you. You're a very special place, right? And you could benefit from some of these market dynamics that are going to be set off by these crises. How can you manage that so they don't have a negative effect? And how do you leverage them so they have the maximum positive effect?
If the government's willing to invest and make their own infrastructure nice and meet those needs, that people come and people show up. And now we have Co-work Tahoe in the old Tribune building. So I think, in real near-term priorities, that broadband connection is huge for us. But I think, silos are always the challenge in Tahoe, and people do kind of get in their own bubble in their own zone. But I think the multiple jurisdictions we have are rarely talked about as an opportunity or a strategic advantage in our basin, and I really do think they are.
What I want to just wrap up real quick with here today is that in our first event, we really heard loud and clear that going back to an economy that wasn't working for everyone was, not the best plan. We want to move to an economy that's better for everyone, more inclusive. At our second event, we heard a lot about that need to work together to ask businesses and employees what's going to work best for them in this new, crazy normal environment that we live in. today, I feel like we heard a lot about, I loved that creating an ecosystem, not an ecosystem, of business and education and philanthropy and government working together. But we need a recovery playbook. And I liked that Bruce focused on really, in some ways, making sure that that is, a Tahoe Basin version of an economic recovery playbook, incorporating both our existing anchor institutions like our health and wellness, like our casino and recreation and entertainment core, with small businesses that then support that overall economic prosperity. But helping to figure out what the priorities are is definitely something we're going to need to do moving forward. So again, to our participants, we greatly appreciate your participation in these events. We will continue to bring together, community leaders. We couldn't have done this without our sponsors. So a huge thank you again to all of our sponsors. A massive thank you to my board, and our staff. We really, it took a lot of work to bring this together and to do this. And so we really appreciate that. We want to hear from you guys. What do we learn from this? What do we take from this? How can we transition into an economic recovery and resiliency plan that is better for our workers, for our community, for our local businesses, and then future full-time residents that may be moving here? How do we incorporate them better into our community? So again, we really greatly appreciate everybody's participation today. A huge thank you to everyone, and especially Miranda for her lovely music that started us off this morning.